Hey, it's Gil T, and I'm going to teach you some butterfly today, La Mariposa. I haven't been learning this trick too long, but I'm starting to get it down pretty decently, so I'll share what I know. I've still got room to improve, I'm sure. But last summer I decided I wanted to learn this trick. It was time for me to learn the butterfly. And so over the fall, I drilled it out and I started getting it. It takes some work though. You'll see I started adding some tricks in there with the butterfly. Mostly arm bounces. Those are really fun. Took a little while to work those up though. I found you have to really speed up the spin of the rope, have a nice brisk pace in order to get those to work. Pop those on and off your arm there. Both sides. It was easier on the right, I found it, than on the left, and that's the direction of the rope in relation to your wrist is opposite for opposite sides. Oh yeah, that little under the leg throw and then turn around. That's kind of precursor to learning the reverse butterfly, which is on my list. Now I'm going to use the rope about 12, maybe 12 and a half feet long maybe, and I've got a loose Honda here, a little bit of weight on it. I've got 2 pennies tied down onto the Honda. And when you're learning, you might find that the loop starts to close up on you kind of quick. That happened to me. So if you start getting too frustrated with your loop getting smaller and smaller, and then until it's just, like that, and you feel like you hit a dead end, here's what you should do. Take your Honda, pinch it down, and put a piece of tape around here to make it a little tighter so that the spoke does not slide very easily. And then that'll keep it from closing up so fast while you're learning. Now the feel of it is going to be a little different when it's like that. And when you open it up again, that's just to get the coarse motions down. Once you got that, you can take the tape off and you'll see the rope will react a little differently. You're going to have to get some finesse with your wrist to make it work, and we'll talk about that. You don't want to start with a loop too small, because then the smaller loop you're going to have to crank it like at a higher speed of rotations, and it's going to be difficult. So give yourself about that much. You don't need much spoke, and you can start it on either side. See, I learned first starting it on the right side, but you can also start it on the left side like this. You kind of cross your arms over, and then that was kind of a rough one, but you get the idea. Once you get going, there's no difference which side you started on, because it just goes back and forth. Two turns over here, 2 turns over here, and you go in the direction as if you set the loop down, it would roll forward. Roll forward. That's the standard butterfly direction. So you look for that flick. Hitting the sofa and everything else here. So as your loop gets smaller, I'm going to adjust my spoke length as I do it, but then I'm also going to spin a little faster, see? So when I started out, I found that I was making some big circular motions with my arm, keeping this thing open, and it kind of worked for a little while. It wasn't the technique I wanted though, it wasn't as smooth as it could be. So then I developed what most people have when they do the butterfly. I would see this flick of the wrist as the Honda comes up and over the top. You flick the wrist, a nice swift flick, and the Honda goes up and over, headed down, and then you can kind of ease off. The momentum of that flick will kind of carry it through the next spin, so you don't have to do much on the second spin. So it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and on the ones, you want to give it a nice swift flick up and over the top. Right? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1. And if your loop starts to close up on you, if you get a nice swift flick at the right time, it does wonders to open it up into a circle again. So you'll find that's a save that you can do when you start to lose it. I can't really do it here because I don't have a lot of room left and right, but I found that if you swing it left and right with that momentum, swinging it back and forth, when it pulls on the loop when it gets to the end, it kind of closes it up. So you can try to swing it a little farther, swing it out farther left and right, and if your loop's getting too big, it might have effect to close it up, but don't go too much, otherwise it'll just disappear and you'll lose it. You can also adjust some of your speed. It's all like just at the right time. So now I've got a small loop. It's tiny. At this point, it's really hard to get it open back up. If you keep it kind of close to your arm and give it a nice flick, see now it's building up. Whoop, hit my arm there. Building up to a bigger size, now it's a little more comfortable. I can ease up and I can have it go a little farther left and right. Yeah, if you want to build your loop open, a good way is to keep it close to your arm. Like, see that? And then once it's open, you can swing it left and right more if you have room and not a sofa in the way. Very early on, I started working with my non-dominant hand, which is my left hand. And it's a little hard and thankless, especially if you've already got some progress with your right hand, and then you want to try to go to your left hand. It just feels like you're digressing. It's a hard thing to get over, But the reason why I suggest early on when you start learning butterfly, you start alternating left, right, is because, for one, your arm will start to get tired. Your shoulder, your arm, your wrist might start to get tired. And then you can break that up by switching to your other side. Gives you a more even workout, for one. And then it just takes some extra diligence, patience to get that non-dominant hand going. And I found that when I was doing my right hand, I could go longer before I messed up. So I might be able to do 5 times back and forth. And then I tried my left hand, I might get 1 or 2. So for a while I was thinking, okay, well, for each attempt I do with my right, I'll do 1 with my left. But then that didn't work because my right was still working more because I could just go longer with it. So I thought, okay, well, for each one I do with my right, I'm going to do 3 attempts with my left. And then I would alternate back and forth like that to try to give an equal time workout instead of like an equal number of attempts. And I mean, my left hand is not quite as smooth as my right hand still, but it's passable, it's decent. It's decent. So the butterfly is a really nice trick. Once you get it down and start to feel a little comfortable, it's really fun to do. And it can lead to a lot of other cool stuff, and ropers who know it will know what kind of work it takes to develop it, and so they'll appreciate it. When they see you doing it, they'll think, oh, this guy's really dedicated. This guy, this gal, as it may be. Thank you for watching. Good luck with your butterflies.